Okay, so let's get right into it. Google just dropped something that feels like a huge leap forward for AI in coding. And look, I want to be super clear right from the start. This is not just another little chatbot update. Nope, this is something else entirely.
So, yeah, that's a pretty big question, right? But honestly, it's what everyone is thinking. We could be looking at a major shift in how we, as developers, actually do our jobs. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why this new tool is making such big waves.
So what even is Gemini Agent Mode? Well, think of it this way. It's an AI that goes way beyond just answering a question or spitting out a function for you. It's built to understand your high-level goals, to create a whole multi-step plan to get it done, and then actually execute that plan across your entire project. It's less of an assistant, and honestly, a lot more like a proactive digital teammate.
And that right there is the heart of it. We're seeing this massive transition from an AI that just reacts to what you ask it to one that's autonomous and totally goal-oriented. So let's look at what that really means when you're actually coding. Now, this slide just lays it out so clearly. The old way, chat mode, it's like having a helpful junior dev. You give it a specific task, a prompt, and it gives you a specific answer, maybe a code snippet. But agent mode, it's like flipping a switch from chat mode to mission mode. You don't give it a prompt, you give it a mission. And it takes that on, creates a whole battle plan, and sees it through. It's a teammate, not just a tool you talk to.
And this analogy just hits the nail on the head. I mean, just imagine a senior engineer who has the entire context of your code base perfectly mapped in their head. Every single file, every dependency. Now imagine they can do a super complex refactor across that entire project in minutes. Not days, but minutes. That's the kind of power we're talking about here.
So how does this whole thing actually work under the hood? It's not just magic, right? It's a really structured step-by-step process that takes your simple goal and turns it into real, actual code. Okay, so the workflow is broken down into these 5 key steps. First, you give it the mission, that high-level objective. Then the agent gets to work, analyzing your entire workspace to figure out what's what. Now, here's the crucial part. It comes back to you with a clear plan, and you have to approve it. So you are always in control, which is so important. Once you give it the thumbs up, it executes the plan, and get this, if it runs into a problem, it'll actually try to fix it on its own, just like a human would.
All right, so the theory sounds incredible, but what does this actually mean for your day-to-day work? Let's talk about the real stuff this tool can handle right now and what this all means for the future.
And we're not talking about small, easy tasks here. These are complex, multi-file changes that can take a person hours, if not days. I mean, imagine just telling your AI, add a user settings page, and it builds the UI, creates the backend API, and updates the database. Or how about update all the deprecated functions? That's one of those tedious jobs that this can just do. It's a game changer for those big repetitive tasks.
So where can you try this out? Well, it's available right now in the IDEs you're probably already using, VS Code, IntelliJ, and Android Studio. And for anyone feeling a little adventurous, there's this optional feature that's kind of hilariously named YOLO mode. It'll automatically execute the plans you approve without asking again. But, a word of warning, it can rewrite your files and run builds, so make sure you really trust that plan first.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. It's important to know this tech is still in preview. It's not perfect. You might see some errors, and it doesn't fully support really complex projects like monorepos just yet. The big takeaway here is that it's an incredibly powerful tool, but it needs supervision. You don't just set it and forget it. And always use version control as your safety net. Work in a separate branch, review every single change. Be smart about it.
This quote just perfectly sums up why this feels so different. It really is a fundamental change in how we interact with AI. We're going from this simple question and answer thing to a real collaborative partnership.
And this all points to this much bigger idea called Agentic AI. That's the whole concept of AI systems that don't just respond, but can actually plan, reason, and carry out complex tasks all on their own. Gemini Agent Mode is one of the very first real-world examples of this, and it gives us this fascinating peek into a future where you might just tell your AI, build me a prototype and deploy it, and it just does.
And that really brings us to the final, critical question. This technology is powerful, it's promising, and yeah, it's maybe a little bit scary, all at the same time. It really blurs the line between a tool and a teammate. So after seeing what it can do, the question for all of us is, are we ready to hand over the keys? Would you trust an AI to go in and autonomously modify your entire code base? It's definitely something we're all going to have to think about.